out there, my fun time summer friends. I am just so happy that you're back with us today on this new episode of Tiny Little Victories. I'm your host, Jennifer Kite-Powell, and today I have a guest for you that sort of blew my mind. This man is one of the people that I think we're missing in the world. Yeah, I'm just going to say it. We're missing this kind of person that looks at the world through a lens of yes. We're missing this kind of person that looks at things as a way of not creating conflict, but bringing people along with you to make changes, to change the world, to live in a more positive state of mind. I really want to give a big send up for this next guest, Pankaj Srivastava. Now, Pankaj right now is the president and CEO of a company called Renaissance Park Corp. So I'm going to table that for a minute and then come back and give you a little send up for what they do. First of all, Pankaj has been called one of the best analytical minds in business. He has the rare combination of strategic acumen with execution mastery. But I'm going to add something else to that. He is a storyteller. I mean, this guy can spin a yarn. I think he really focuses on challenging the status quo. He inspires people to think in more world-class terms, not so much in your own little niche of the world, but to think, how does what you do affect the world? Okay, now that being said, I'm going to just tell you that the company that he is the CEO and founder of is Renaissance Park Corp. And they are working really, really hard to bring industrial hemp back into the world. Now, there's a lot of stories here about industrial hemp. And I don't know if you know this, but Henry Ford's first car was made with industrial hemp. This crop is incredible, and it can do so many things. It can be in so many places. In fact, the new BMW series, their dashboard is made of industrial hemp. So come on. Now, I do think there's been a big uproar around legalization of marijuana. But some of the things that we talked about today is like, this is a crop that's been around for a millennia. And, it got sort of demonized over the years due to industrialists and people saying, I own the market on trees and we need a lot of wood to build railroads. So forget that this crop is actually stronger than wood. I'm going to stick with my wood investment that I've made over here. So Pankaj has a lot of these stories about, the value of this crop. And honestly, like, how do we change the narrative on bringing this crop back into favor? I don't know why all of these billionaires out there would not want to invest in something that is good for the environment, that makes a better product, that is a cleaner product, and can literally change how we make products and how we live in our world. You see, I'm getting really worked up over this. So on that note, I would like to invite you to sit back, turn off any buzzy things in your house, and just enjoy this conversation with a remarkable human being, Pankaj Srivastava. So, Pankaj, here you are. I've been dying to talk to you for a couple of years now, and you're kind of sitting across from me, but through a computer. Welcome to Tiny Little Victories.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Super excited to be here. Thank you for reaching out and making this happen.
Yeah. So the first thing I have to say, and everybody doesn't know this, but I'm talking to somebody who has been described as one of the best storytellers, one of the best analytical minds they have ever met. And I'm sitting here looking at this very cool tattoo that you have on, Pankaj, on your arm. And so I'm thinking story, analytical mind. So can we just start with this amazing tattoo?
Absolutely, Jen.
Okay.
Thank you for noticing that.
Yeah.
And I went for it to be noticed because it's really, really big, right?
It is really
So a
big.
quick. Yeah, I was never a tattoo person till my son started talking about tattoos a couple of years ago. And he wanted one, my daughter wanted one, and my wife said, once you guys get to college, you can do whatever you want. So we kind of waited for them to kind of step into the college,
Yeah.
universe. And once they did that, the whole family decided we should all go and get a tattoo. And tattoos with some significance that signifies the bond between, the four of us. But at the 11th hour, my wife backed out, because she's the wise one among all four of
Is she
us.
still tattoo free then? Is she still has no tattoos?
She's completely tattoo free,
Okay.
but I think just like I turned her over to Scotch single malts, one day I'm going to turn her over into a tattoo
I
lover.
feel like there's a Scotch tattoo story coming in the next couple of years.
Yeah, 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 yeah. My life philosophy is described as an abbreviation called SMS:
Okay.
sports, music, and Scotch.
I love this.
Yeah, yeah. The next is going to be a hemp whiskey.
Yeah.
That's my next tattoo.
Oh, I
A
love
hemp whiskey bottle.
a hemp whiskey bottle. Okay, but that just opened us right up to what you're doing right now. And you are the CEO of a company that is doing industrial hemp. So, I mean, what is that? And how are we using this hemp? What are we doing with it?
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful story. It's a story of, an ancient plant that
Yes.
we had lost sight of,
Yeah.
right? It's truly an opportunity. Hemp has been absent from markets, from our conscience for the last 100 years almost. And we are giving it a rebirth. And that's why the name of the company, Renaissance.
Okay,
That's where it comes from.
that was one of my questions because it, Renaissance is rebirth, and then I'll think of like a hotel chain, and then I saw it was like industrial hemp, and I thought, okay, these I think I get where he's going with this because in a lot of the articles that you've been writing lately, they're really all about like, eco-conscious food, about making how our plates can what one of the pieces I really love that you wrote was about how, our food on our plate can heal the planet. And so this trajectory that you've taken in your career from, being this great analytical mind, for you founded a privacy company, and all the way to this point of like being aware of what's happening to the planet and cosmetics, deforestation. And has this journey for you to found Renaissance with industrial hemp been like so part of where you thought you would always go? Because I think an analytical mind can go anywhere, right? You've proven that you can go anywhere with that analytical mind. So how did you end up here at the hemp?
No, thank you for asking that question. I actually have a spreadsheet that I started about 19 years ago, being an analytical, person, where I kind of carve a path to where I want to be 10 years, 20 years from when I started the spreadsheet. And all I focused on as part of that journey was to not, what title I want to be 5 years from now in my career, but what I need to be doing, right? So there's a difference between, title and what you end up doing and what drives you. And as part of that, on the time scale, which was the x axis, I plotted all the skills I need to acquire to do the things I want to do in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right?
That is amazing.
And and one of the things that I observed as I kind of reflect on that spreadsheet often uh, is that trajectory was amazing for me because I focused on continuously learning. Opportunities came to me, right?
Yes.
Versus I going and vying for a particular role or an
Yeah.
opportunity or work for a particular company or work with some of the smartest people I worked with. They came to me,
You
and
build it,
that's
they will
that's the
come.
magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right, exactly right. So right now, at my stage in this stage of the career, I feel like I'm marrying the analytical bent of mind with the humanistic soul that I've always possessed, thanks to my parents.
Yeah.
And when they come together, it creates a magical moment. And you start looking at yourself not just as what you want to do, which was my entire focus on that spreadsheet, to what the world expects you to do. And
That's
that inflection point is amazing, magical moment. And I had that a couple of years ago. I'm like, okay, I've been always focused insularly. I've been thinking about, okay, what can I do? What can I do?
yeah.
And now the world has been waiting for me to say, what can you do for me, Pankaj? And that happened a year ago when I met the founder of Renaissance. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity, to God, to my family, and to Steve, our founder.
Absolutely. I mean, I that's so moving. I almost am at a loss for words here because I just got chill bumps. Your whole approach is the way that I think that we are actually created as humans, and then somehow along the way we get excuse me, reprogrammed by like these things, greed, like attain this, get this, own this, and you lose track of your purpose in life and your purpose, your skills that you have as a child. I bet as a child, you were this, I think as a child, you were probably the same exact man, right? Like I mean, how would you think your parents would describe you when you were a child? Would they say that you were analytical, but you told great stories?
Yeah, I was always a storyteller. I don't know about great storyteller, but
Uh-huh.
I always told
Oh, well,
stories.
the internet says you're a
You
great
know,
storyteller, so it must be true.
no, thank you, Jennifer. So that's been a superpower of mine for a long time. I think it's just incredible to just imagine. There's 7 billion of us on this planet, and there is no one person just like you,
So true.
right?
Yeah. So
Which
true.
means there are at least 7 billion unique stories out there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So each one of us is a great storyteller because we each tell a unique story,
Yeah.
right? So I don't believe that there are good storytellers and poor
Yeah.
storytellers. I just feel like they're different stories and they're all unique, and the person who has that story to tell is a good storyteller for that story.
I agree with you
Nobody else
that
can tell that story
nobody.
the
Right.
same way, right?
Yeah, and
So
your curiosity when you talked about, these elements that you were thinking about more as a person, as a man, not about somebody that needed a job. I mean, we all need jobs, but to let that to let the opposite occur in your life, to see the opportunity that feeds you in all the ways that you feed yourself, opens up the door. And I think that it creates opportunity, it just creates this opportunity. And it's like a portal in a way. And I love to like just say, take your hands off the wheel for a minute. Just take your hands off the wheel. What comes to you? And I love that you said, like, it's not these are the things that came to you. It was the planet that came to you and said, what can you do for us? And I think if I look at what you've been writing about and what you've been creating, it is the kinds of stories that I think people are passionate about, but with the world the way it is, they don't really know, how can I speak up to support this? How can I tell my story as it's connected to, say, deforestation because of cosmetics, or the healthy food, the healthy planet? That's something that affects 7 billion people. Food
absolutely,
is,
Jennifer.
we're running out of
Absolutely.
water, the running out of arable land. We have ruined our soils. Um, so your story there, your commitment there, I think I love the parallel with the hemp because it fits right into that.
Yeah, hemp, and I didn't know much about hemp till I met our founder, Steve. I was afflicted with the same set of myths that have been surrounding hemp for the last
Really?
century or so,
What?
right?
Okay.
And in most of my investor decks, right, my first slide is a math equation, and it says hemp does not equal marijuana, right?
Exactly.
Because for most of the world, we have to relearn the magic of hemp, right? Most people think hemp is marijuana, and it can't be more untrue. So that's where the story of hemp has to be told. So
Agreed.
there's a hard job ahead to kind of tell that story of a plant that corporate vested interest subdued for a century for their own interests to be magnified, right? So we have to actually take a very deliberate, intentional, take on how we narrate that story, so we can actually demystify hemp.
Mm.
And that's exactly the journey I took. It took me 3 months, Jennifer, to start actually understanding the magic of hemp.
Yeah, is that interesting to you with such your open mind that the hemp, um like you said, the hemp myth or the hemp like criminalization myth was so
Correct.
ingrained in you in a way, that you had to take this time to sort of deprogram yourself from this hemp.
Absolutely.
Is it
Eh,
because, I mean, I think because like corporate, obviously every corporation has an interest, a self-interest. They've done this for the millennia, right? They've suppressed one thing to support this thing. And in the end, hemp is a crop. It's a crop. It's a crop like indigo. It's a crop that had a purpose at one time until
Correct.
church, businesses, or whoever decided this wasn't what was going to be the most profitable. So, how that
Correct.
3 month journey that you took,
Yeah.
how did, I mean, what was your journey? What did you do? Did you just read a lot? What was your path there?
Yeah. So I read a lot. I read a lot and I spoke with Steve a lot. So I read a book. Actually, the book is right here.
I love it when we show
It's
books.
called it's called The Marijuana Hater's Guide to Hemp,
Marijuana
right?
Haters
Uh,
Guide. I love that.
yeah. And the author, he did a fantastic job building the context, the historical context around hemp, and demystified it for me. Right, I invited Matt Harmon, the author of the book, to join my advisory board because I just fell
What?
in love with the narrative that he took. Right,
Yeah.
so I read a lot. I spoke with a lot of people. I went into the industry networks, talked to people who are actually already utilizing hemp for a variety of sustainable practices to learn more. And because of being analytical, you always try to poke holes in theories and theses and
Yeah, it's
themes
good.
and
Yeah,
frameworks.
questioning things is good.
So I kept looking for, okay, it can't all be that great. There has to be something which is not good about hemp. Jennifer,
Yes.
I did not find a single hole.
I believe you.
So I did not know this. Matt educated me with his book. Hemp was the number one crop grown in America in the 1800s. The number one crop
What?
grown in America. How many of us know that?
I don't know that at all because I would have said it would have been cotton.
No, hemp. Hemp has been used by humankind for over 5,000 years. In the middle centuries, when the British and the Spanish and the Portuguese were conquering the world out there,
Mm.
sailing their ships, the sails and the ropes of those ships were made of industrial hemp.
That I do, but that makes so much sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Hemp is 4 times more durable than cotton, 6 times stronger than steel, 24 times more insulative than concrete. It sequesters 4 times more carbon than regular trees. When it grows, it remediates the soil. It doesn't require fertilizers and pesticides because it refertilizes the soil for its own sake and for future crops grown on the same land. Just the most fundamental use case of hemp
Yeah, the
is.
fundamental use case. How what happened?
So I'll give you a few examples. So in the 1920s and the 30s, right, William Hertz was basically had a monopoly on the media in the United States, right? He owned, newspapers, magazines, and everything, right? And to support and feed those industries, he was doing lumber farming,
Yeah.
right? And the lumber farming produced the paper that all his media empire used for newspapers and magazines, right? Hemp paper is superior to paper from trees, from regular lumber. Hemp paper doesn't age with time. It doesn't turn yellow. It doesn't crumple. US Constitution's first draft was written on industrial hemp paper. Okay?
What?
So now, as William Hertz saw hemp getting more popular because machines started being built to decorticate hemp at scale, he got worried. It takes 30 years.
Because he owned the lumber, because he had the
Yeah.
lumber.
So, yeah, imagine, you have lumber farms. To grow a tree, it takes 30 years. To grow hemp, it takes 100 days. It would have wiped off his entire lumber
But at the same
business,
time, why didn't he see that as a business opportunity? Like, to me,
because he had already invested decades
see, this is
growing
what
lumber.
happens. This is what happens, right?
This
Corporate
right.
corporate
This is
interests.
just one exactly right, Jennifer. DuPont family, which was in petrochemicals, one of the byproducts of petrochemicals is acrylics. These are synthetic fibers like nylon, polyester, laden with petrochemicals. If hemp fibers took hold in the marketplace, you would not need nylon and polyester
Mm-hmm.
because hemp is a natural fiber, 4 times more durable than cotton.
Sheesh.
They didn't want hemp to grow. In the 1930s, late 1930s and early 1940s, Henry Ford built an entire car built with industrial hemp. The entire goddamn car was built with industrial hemp.
God.
And on top of it, he powered the car with hemp biofuel. Okay, now,
Oh,
why did he do that? Why did he do that? In the late 1930s and early 40s, World War II was going on. All the steel being manufactured in America was being used to produce tanks and ammunition. He didn't have steel to build his cars. So he chose the best alternate that was available, industrial hemp.
yeah.
There's a video on YouTube. It's called the hemp car.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
take a hammer, a person takes a hammer to the car, it doesn't make a single dent because the way he fabricated hemp fibers, it made them 10 times stronger than steel and half the weight. Imagine
Oh,
that. But all his steel magnate friends said, "What are you doing, Henry?"
yeah. You're ruining us.
Right? So these corporate interests colluded with the US government and 1937 made hemp and classified hemp in the same category as marijuana to make it illegal. And when the biggest market in the world does that, it travels the world.
Yeah, everything
So it
falls.
became illegal everywhere.
It's
And
amazing
that
to
is what
me
happened.
that you would like make a crop, that you would take a crop that was able to save these new emerging markets and businesses actually money, right?
Yep,
And
yep.
at, but yet to like align it with a drug, because in the 30s I thought everyone was doing like opium and like other stuff. So I thought, I just feel like that is such a clever but evil thing to do, to take something that we could have changed the planet in the 1920s to where we would be probably in this position where we are right now, where we have
Absolutely.
only six harvests left until the food prices triple. You're like, like in that's insane. Six harvests. That's like 6 years. That's nothing. I don't think people even connect the fact that the soil and this crop could have prevented a lot of this in terms of even soil replenishment.
Absolutely. You know, China uses it, France uses it massively in their crop rotation schedules. It's 100 days, quick crop, right?
Yeah.
Seed to harvest, 100
Yeah.
days, less than 3 months. And it increases crop yields of other crops grown on the same land by 20 to 30%. Why would you not use it?
I don't even know. It just seems economically you would use it because it would make your
Correct,
yield more profitable or productive.
correct, correct. But now I see a wonderful opportunity for the next century. That's why Renaissance makes so much sense, right?
Yeah.
So, is it okay for me to tell you the thesis of Renaissance a little
Oh,
bit?
uh, I'm barely talking because your stories are so engaging. I'm yes, please go. Please go.
Thank you, Jennifer. So in 2018, sanity prevailed, okay, and the new farm bill was passed. Said, you know what, it's okay to do hemp. Let's hemp it, okay.
Let's
Uh, and so in 2018, it was made legal, right? Now, not marijuana, but hemp, right? But hemp
Yes.
has So from 2018 to 2020, hemp cultivation and cannabis cultivation, which is the gene pool for hemp and marijuana, started growing. It grew from almost nothing to 800,000 hectares in America. And because of that level of scaled supply in such a short period of time, prices dropped.
Yeah.
Farmers lost money, right? So they said, oh, I can't make money off of this thing. So they stopped cultivating hemp. So what happened was from zero or close to zero to 800,000 hectares
And then back down
in
again.
2020. In 2022, it was down to 30,000. And as of April of this year, 2024, it's 17,000 hectares. Now imagine you are a hemp company. It
Mm.
has been just made legal. You know it's one of the most incredible ingredients to use to make better products.
Hmm.
Hemp just makes better products. Forget climate. It just gives you a better shirt.
Yeah, because if you want to focus on that, if you can't get behind the climate wagon, then go to better product wagon.
Exactly. And that's where we are, by the way. So basically, there were hundreds of companies that started up after 2018. They started utilizing hemp as part of their product efforts. But this nascency in the market and this choppy supply did not allow them to scale properly, right? So now you are a hemp company and you're struggling to find the right relationships on the supply side, right?
Mm.
So because of its long absence and the sudden, opening of the market, it created an inefficiency, and the market is still trying to find that balance of demand and supply. That's a systemic problem,
Yeah.
right? The other systemic problem is if something has been illegal for 100 years, nobody invests in that space any longer.
Yeah.
So banks don't invest in this industry. Because there is no investment, there is no large scale research and development going on, no material science, no application research, none of that exists. So, lack of robust supply chain, lack of capital, lack of proper disciplined R&D are
Mm.
systemic issues affecting the entire hemp industry. We, as Renaissance said, we don't want to be just a hemp product company because if we were that, we would have the exact same issues.
Yeah.
Instead, we chose to solve the systemic issues. If we solve the systemic issues, we become enablers for any hemp company to massively scale their operations. And when we do that as humanity, we build better products,
Yep.
and a byproduct is a healthier planet. It just makes sense. So
Yeah.
we chose we'll do the hard job because systemic
Okay.
problems are hard, hard,
Oh, yeah, because
hard
that's
to
changing
solve.
behavior. Changing behavior is like it's so difficult to change humans' behavior.
Correct, correct. So we simplified how we talk about ourselves to kind of help people understand it.
Mm.
So the mission sounds very simple. Our mission, we describe it internally and externally as is to replace toxic ingredients with natural materials across hundreds of products. Sounds damn simple, but when you get into the details, it's freaking hard. It
Yeah.
takes it takes a
But
lot of effort to solve these systemic challenges. But that's what
that
we are choosing to do.
But I love that you're choosing to do that because that means you're in it for the long game. I mean, there's a Dutch company that he had been a CEO of many different things like you had. His name is Anko Tersholta. Sorry, I'm pronouncing that wrong. That anyway, there's a Dutch entrepreneur, and
Mhm.
he was tired of the big ISPs like KPN, dictating prices and profits just to keep shareholders happy. So he just crowdfunded to raise all this money to make like a people's ISP in the Netherlands to challenge KPN. No, literally, he did. He got so much funding for this. And his whole thing is like, we're not going to change the services and things just because to please these shareholders. So he talks about it as being capitalism 4.0. Like, how can we make a better country or land or how we live ourselves differently if we're already beholden to all of these corporate interests? So that's to me focusing on a systemic problem about shareholders like deciding when a product is ready when it's not, or you deciding to say, hey, look, you know what, we have a big problem here and we need to replace toxic ingredients. By the way, great story. Toxic ingredients. And this reminds me of the fact that the story you just told me is in 6 years when they did the farm bill to now, we've gone, that's not a long time for something to be released and then collapse again on itself due to what? Due to government interference or just this same stigma of hemp equals marijuana?
Age old reason, Jennifer. No, there's only one reason: economic, right?
Always. Yeah.
If I can make a boatload of money doing something, I will do it. But guess what's going to happen? Other people will want to do it the same thing. So we have to create an economic reason for hemp to grow, and that's what
Yes.
we are focused on actually. So think about this. Uh, just I want to take one step back and then come back to this a little bit based on what you were talking about, the entrepreneur, right? And this is very relatable at a personal level, right? If we disagree with somebody, right, our natural reaction as human beings is to create an argument and debate a point and say no, you got to be persuaded to my perspective, my point of view.
Yeah.
That doesn't lead to progress, by the way. We all know
No.
that, right? You fight with your family members, you fight with your friends, you fight with your colleagues, and you're always trying to be in the convincing game. Convincing game never convinced anyone. So I have a method that I have been taught through a lot of mentors I've had in my life. I call this framework now, which is unique to me now because I've kind of jumbled theories from different people. I call it the yes moments,
I like that.
right? So instead of having a debate and you start from two opposing perspectives and trying to find a middle ground, you say, what question can I ask somebody where the only answer is yes?
Oh my God. This is like genius.
So
Yeah.
how do you
So,
create yes moments? So in the
mhm.
context of what we're doing, right? Here are the questions I ask people,
Yeah.
right? Say, do you want to craft a zero waste life cycle for clothes?
Okay.
Do you want to create buildings that lower energy consumption but offer better strength? Do you want to build electric batteries that actually reduce the impact of mining? Do you
Oh,
want
that's a
to
good one.
create lighter, stronger, faster, cheaper? When you ask those kinds of questions, there is no answer, right?
Yeah, no, because if you ask me,
Say
do you want to replace toxic ingredients in the soil so you have healthier food? The answer is going to be yes.
yes, exactly, right? So the way to build this narrative and to kind of bring people on board is not to fight them on their ideologies, right? It is to create the yes moments, right? And what happens? Something really amazing and magical happens when you create a yes moment. Now you both parties forget what you were fighting about, right? You forget the problem, the challenge, the issue, the obstacle that you were talking about.
Mhm.
Instead, you are now both working together to solution it. And solutions is where progress lies. So, yeah, but how? How is the starting point of figuring out and discovering a solution? And that's where the middle ground is. Now, I'd rather debate people on solutions than problems,
Yeah, I
right?
agree with you. I agree with you because then you've already moved off that track, that train track of convincing,
Absolutely.
and you all agree that it could be this solution and this solution. Those solutions could be different, but they're still on the yes train.
Absolutely. So the my framework is simply put, yes moments. And it's hard because you have to really prepare yourself. You have to think about questions with only one answer, right?
Yes, that's so true. I mean, my mind
Yeah,
is like, my mind right now is just processing, like, I'm going to apply this to a situation but I have to think ahead of time. I have to plan ahead about how do I ask the right question to get this person over to this way of thinking.
correct.
But it's not convincing that they need to do X or Y. It's getting them to feel this heart, this emotion, this authenticity to be, yes, I do care about not having toxic products in my life. I raise
Absolutely.
bees and I do everything organic, and everybody around me is like, yeah, we shop at Whole Foods. We believe in organics. And then I see them putting pesticides on their lawn. Like these two things
Absolutely.
do
Yeah.
not go together. So the question for me to ask them is, do you care about like the future of the soil for your 10-month-old baby? Yes. know, uh
Yes.
wow. That's almost like a whole different way to work your brain in a way. Like I don't know if you're a fan of Joe Dispenza, but he talks about rewiring your own way of thinking
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and you realize how much you're programmed. I mean, how much programming comes, programming around marijuana and deprogramming you actually have to do. And this yes method is to me about deprogramming, but then reprogramming at the same time your brain to look for a solution.
Right. Right. And I'll tell you a quick story. 1998. Okay, a long time ago. My first job in the Valley. I was leaving the company. That was a fantastic experience because that was my first entrepreneurial experience. The CEO gave me opportunity to build a business within the
98 is a
business.
good time to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's never a bad time to be an entrepreneur
Oh, okay.
because I think to me entrepreneurs are the most courageous people on the planet. Starting something, and I don't care whether it's successful or not. If you start something, in my eyes, you're the most courageous person on the planet, right? It's the hardest job to do. But the story I will tell you, my CEO at that time, Bill Lane, amazing, amazing man. He said, before you leave the office today, because that was my last day at the company, come spend, say hello to me. I said, sure. So at the end of the day, I walk into Bill's office. I said, Bill, I'm leaving. I thought it was going to be a, 5 minute, nice chat. We spent 2 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And he told me a story. He said, Pankaj, you know why I've been so successful in my career? I said, tell me, Bill. He said, because I never said no, which is, think about, conventional wisdom. We say, in order
Yeah.
to focus, you have to say no a lot. Now,
Yeah.
that's true, generally speaking. But what I discovered with Bill's story, and he narrated the story where he sold ice from the North Pole in Nordstrom stores. Crazy idea,
It's
right?
crazy.
So,
Yeah. Or
yeah,
is it?
and it's not really, but if you really
Right.
think, but his point was when you say yes to something, what you're really saying is you're doing two things, magical things, by the way. One is you I come to you, or you, let's reverse this actually. Jennifer comes to Pankaj and says, Pankaj, I
Yeah.
have this idea. And I say, yeah, what did I just do? I told Jennifer I respect her thinking, her ideation. I value her input. I just empowered Jennifer. And the second thing I did was I made sure that anytime Jennifer has an idea, she comes to me.
Yeah.
So
Oh
I
yeah, that's
never,
true.
so I never lose an idea from Jennifer, right? Two magical things happen. And the third job, which is the how do you decide whether to do it or not, right? Is the solutioning process that I was talking about. Okay, Jennifer, tell me how will this happen? And if this happens, what else could we do? Now, Jennifer is working with me to refine. And then Jennifer may decide at the end of that discussion, you know what, that's not really such a good idea. But she walks away happier after having said no to her own idea if you go through that
Yes.
process.
You've made happy work, happy innovation, happy
Yeah,
solutions.
right. So this is the narrative of Renaissance that we want to bring to the world, where they will be, and I judge my success based on how many people oppose my idea, right?
Wait, what?
The more
Wait,
people
stop. Urch. You judge people. You tell us
no,
that again?
I judge my success or the success
Okay.
of whatever the company I'm part of based on how many people oppose it, right?
Package.
the
That's an incredible way to measure success because then you know you're getting to people.
Absolutely right. The hardest part is to become part of the conversation, but the
Yes.
hardest even is to rile people up to think on your behalf. So what people
Yes.
are right? So people who are opposing you are thinking deeper about you. And that's exactly what you want to create progress.
Yes. Because that is
right?
that, like, it's a ripple of energy in a way, because you're converting that same energy into you're transforming it, basically, that same level of energy to be on your train track.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have several examples in my own career where I had an opposition from a peer management team member, and together we created a better solution. And that was used by 100 million people in 2 weeks' time, right? The idea
Mhm.
was so viral. So, so I don't believe that I have the best idea. I believe if I can tell the right story, create those yes moments, I will find the best idea that people would want to work on with me, right?
Yeah.
So you have to get rid of this thing that this is mine, and you have to make it widely available and be glad when you get criticism. Say, wow, I did something amazing.
That is so true. Could you run for president, please? Because, like, absolutely think that this approach, your approach, is changing. You're changing, fundamentally changing the world. I do believe that. I'm going to say it. It's okay. It's my podcast. I can say what I want. I do believe that you are elevating the way our brains need to function. Instead of isolationist, it's mine, me, you are creating this pool of unique togetherness. I think with this, it's about solution. I don't think we focus on solution and solving things anymore, because we're too busy in this, like you said, this opposition mode. But the idea that criticism, and I've always felt the same as you, criticism means that you are definitely doing something right. You are challenging something, you're pushing forward on something. You might be making people uncomfortable, because I do believe people are afraid to speak up. But your approach of, when I come to you with the idea, is bringing people in. It's a bringing people in instead of pushing people out. That
Absolutely,
we
right?
cannot heal the planet. I don't think we can heal the planet. We can change how we farm. We can change the air we breathe. We can change how we build things to build better products, which help the planet. Uh, if we don't think like this inclusionary thinking.
Yeah, you nailed it. I had a very interesting, maybe interesting is not the right word, but challenging, probably, conversation with one of the largest climate funds about 3 months ago, right? I would not
Oh,
name them, but
yeah. I'd love to have been
uh,
a bug in that conversation.
yeah, and they're funding a company, great technology. It has figured out a way to condense the size of electric batteries so you can make them portable, right? So instead of driving your electric vehicle with a battery in it, you can take your hand tools and power them through electric batteries wherever you go.
Yeah.
Brilliant idea. Clean energy. And I told the guy, I said, do you know if this company that you just funded, 50 million bucks, if it's massively successful, it's going to massively destroy the planet. You won't meet your goals on carbon emissions.
Yeah. Oh, the
So,
battery. Yeah.
right? So there is a story to be told, but I don't want to go and have a discussion around electric vehicles are bad.
Yeah.
I don't want that story,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the wrong story. The right
Yeah.
story is how can we make electric vehicles even better?
Yeah.
How do we do that? That will create a coalition of minds to come together and solve the inherent problems on how the batteries are built. And if electric vehicles are growing, then it becomes a massively amazing thing for the world to see, right?
Yeah.
So oppose not the growth of things, but fundamentally argue how we build, consume, and dispose of things.
Yes, and that dispose part, I think we
Yeah,
miss, because if you want to take this electric car battery story back to Henry Ford, back,
yeah, yeah,
to your story in the 30s, he was trying to be innovative using, materials, because there weren't materials, so out of necessity to build
right.
something. But I can see a lot of parallels between, and then the pressure from the steel makers, to where you just discussed with the climate fund guys. That's a whole nother thing, talking about investors. But Okay, yeah, electric batteries, electric cars, better for the planet in the end. Not better for the planet in the end if we're just
Correct.
having all this crap leaking to the soil, like it's killing the environment. So, same exact story arc, just different technologies over 100 years later, right? If you think about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right.
But this is what's scary to me. We are repeating ourselves, Pankaj, in this story. So you're talking about 1930s. Here we are in 2024. Same story. Big industry
Same
deciding.
story.
In this case, I'm putting venture capital here, thinking, oh, it's so great. But those guys are the worst in thinking about the result. I can take that Lime scooter as a perfect example and the landfill problems that thing made. If you remember, maybe it wasn't Lime. It was just all those scooters ended up in a landfill, right? So how do you stop that? Because it's where I feel like
So
this is necessary because you're at this is to me is like a tipping point right now with the conversations that you're talking about reframing, in terms of toxic, asking the question that way. Electric batteries, great. Electric cars, great. But why do we never get to this, disposal side of the story? Why do we just forget again? We get so excited even with clean energy, but we forget.
that's true, right? Yeah, so couple things. Number one, to make 100 electric batteries to power 100 electric cars requires 1 ton of lithium to be mined. 1 ton equals 100 cars. Okay. That 1 ton of lithium mine requires 2 million tons of water. Okay, let's just look at that, right? Okay. What if instead of having that discussion, we say you don't have to invest 100 million bucks to mine lithium in the first place. Say, oh, how can
Yeah.
I reduce my cost? So my point, Jennifer, is it is always an economic argument to be made for things to
Yeah.
move,
Yeah.
right? So let me tell you how we are doing that real quick, right? So I mentioned this whole choppiness in the supply thing because of the nascency of the market. And that's expected. When something new happens, people don't know, people
Yeah.
are figuring it out, market takes time to kind
Yeah.
of figure out the balance, right? That's okay. The question is, how do you solve it, right? I never believe that supply solves demand problems. It's the other way around, right? If you want to solve a supply chain problem, you don't solve the supply chain problem. You solve the demand problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, demand is behavior.
Yeah. So demand is the one thing that incentivizes supply, not the other way around. We
Yeah, I
often miss
agree
that
with you.
fact, right? So what we're doing is we're saying these hundreds of hemp companies out there, they're all kind of doing their thing. Let's get them together in a coalition. When they're in a coalition, we'll have a bigger view of demand for hemp. That will create the right incentive structure for the farmers. Say, I have predictability of price and profit for the next 10 years. I get it now.
Hmm.
I'll grow more hemp. So you have to simplify this and say, you know what? What's the first thing to do? Just coalesce demand, create a bigger view of it, supply will follow. When supply follows, there'll be more demand. So, and when that happens, entrepreneurs say, you know what, there's enough supply. I can start my own hemp company, further growing the demand, further creating more supply, creating this amazing flywheel of supply and demand. That's the first thing we got to do. Forget
Yeah.
about climate, forget about all the other things that afflict us and
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
challenge, right? Just do that. If
Yeah.
I do that for 2 years, Jennifer, with 100 companies that I have target, relationships with, we'll
Yeah.
start a movement.
Yeah. You
We'll
will.
start a
You
movement.
will. And because it's like you said, you're focusing on demand, which is behavior, and getting
Right.
people to buy in to that, which creates those guys going out and then creating the supply. And
Right.
again, that is, and I hate to use this word, extremely disruptive thinking, but it's only disruptive. And I'm going to put it back in the framework. It's only disruptive because this has been the mantra that corporations and economic people have said. It's supply versus demand. That's the mantra. We're also breaking that down, right? Rethinking everything, because you're right. It is the demand. It's not the supply. The demand
Absolutely.
then would grow people to go out and do the supply. Okay. So here's my suggestion. I think
Yeah.
that we should have you back on this show to talk more. No, because my notebook is so big right now, and these stories are so great, because I really want to hear more from this about how, like, where you see this going, like in like, what do you expect to see in the next 5 to 10 years? Actually, maybe we can close on that. What is it that you want to see or you think will happen, and what's that window of time that you feel like you can start to make the ship turn? I don't know why we're using ships and trains here. Henry Ford cars. Yeah.
Henry Ford cars. Yes. So here's the good news.
Okay.
It's already happening, Jennifer. Okay.
Hooray!
Already happening. The Building Association of America just made hempcrete, hemp wood, hemp insulation approved materials for residential buildings.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. Hempcrete is fireproof. It doesn't burn. It is 24 times more insulative than cement and concrete. So the cost of running a facility goes down 50% if you just use hempcrete, right? So association and construction industry, Jennifer, is third of all global carbon emissions.
This is a smart way to go. I like this. This is a smart way to go. Yeah.
So this is happening. Every single X3 BMW model built in America last 3 years, right here in Nashville, Tennessee, uses industrial hemp for entire dashboard construction, as well as the insulation for the car body. X3 models, luxury car, got it? Happening
Start
right now.
At the top, yep.
Happening right now.
Automotive, back to Henry Ford.
Back to Henry Ford, right? So some hemp batteries are being built right now. A company that is a future partner for me just got funded by a VC firm in South Africa to massively scale hemp batteries that do not require us to mine for nickel and cobalt. So it's happening right now. What we want to be able to do is accelerate that movement by creating and solving foundational problems and giving almost like an incubator type platform for any hemp entrepreneur to succeed, right? So in the next 5 years, in the next 5 years, I feel like there'll be 10,000 more new hemp companies. Absolutely. Okay. Because we will make that happen. That's my job.
I love it. Okay.
We'll make that happen. Countries are awakening to this. Countries that are facing extreme climatic events. We have discussions going on with the government of India, government of Morocco, government of Saudi Arabia, government of South Africa.
Good.
Governments see this as the next 100-year economic prosperity for them. So I believe the next 5 years would be crucial to get the catalyst part of our theme going. And the next 10 years, you'll see hemp everywhere.
You know what? I love that you're talking to these governments. I love it. We're going to come back in 10 years and see hemp everywhere. This microphone's going to be made of hemp. I want to say Morocco is in so much trouble, right? I could talk about Morocco and the problems that they're facing and the amount of food that they grow for Europe that they don't even understand. Cut off Morocco from the food supply and people are going to be hungry. So I love that you're having these discussions with these governments are affecting the biggest climate change that grow so much of our food. Okay, so sadly we have to go, but I gotta say I am just incredibly inspired by everything that you've said, and I am on the Pankaj train. Like, sign me up. Whatever I could do to help, I am here for you and this movement and this company. I mean it. Like, let's tell some stories.
Jennifer, you're too gracious. Thank you. Thank you for the invite. And I would love to collaborate on many levels with you.
I am ready. Thank you, Pankaj.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Hey, it's me, Jennifer Kite-Powell, the host of the podcast you just listened to, Tiny Little Victories. Now, are you inspired to go out in the world and ask yes questions instead of conflict questions? I am. I have been, ever since we recorded this podcast, I have been lit up with the words of Pankaj just like ringing in my head. And I have to tell you, I used it a couple of times to see if it worked, and it did work. I was looking for yes answers to bring people along with me on a journey, and I asked them, and people said yes, and one of those yeses involved a lot of money. So cha-ching, yay for me. The second person I passed this advice on to was someone in the financial sector, and I had told him about this, and he said, I'm going to try it. And then a couple days later, he emailed me and he said, you know what? I tried this yes approach that Pankaj advises, and it worked and solved a big problem. So you know what? We are full of big problems right now in this world. I don't care what country you're in. We are full of problems. We have no more water. It's going away. Very scarce. We have food supplies that are in critical condition right now. We have political brouhaha all over the place. And we have a lot of angry people who, you know, we're just really angry right now. I don't think we need to be that way because we have other problems we need to solve. So I challenge everybody to maybe sit up straight and think about what can you do? What questions can you ask to get a yes answer to bring people along on your journey or bring people along into solving some of these world challenges that we have right now? I am so worked up over this. I just keep listening to this podcast over and over again. So I'm going to put all the places that you can connect with Pankaj into the show notes. But if you have any comments or questions or you want to reach out, we put a little blurb in the show notes where you can reach out, and we'll be sure to pass your comments on to Pankaj. But hey, you know what? Let's say yes. Let's say yes to a greater future. And on that note, thank you all for saying yes and listening to Tiny Little Victories and sharing Tiny Little Victories and rating Tiny Little Victories. I mean, like applause, applause, applause. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm making the little thank you pose right now. You can't see me. And I will see you all in 2 weeks on the next episode of Tiny Little Victories.